Hello and welcome to the newspaper review segment. This is Third Eye Africa TV. It's a segment where we do justice to what we have on our national dailies. My name is Margaret Adewale. Joining me on today's newspaper review is Charles Agedo, and together we'll be looking at what we have on our national dailies. Thank you, Charles, for joining me.
Thank you, Margaret. It's always a pleasure.
All right. We start with the leadership newspaper. One trending issue I want us to talk about is on page 7. It's talking about Sowore. It says, police detain Sowore over alleged criminal defamation. It's on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. Don't you think this is a comeback for Sowore?
I won't call it a comeback because Sowore is always with the police. He's always he's either sometimes he's for them or sometimes he's against them. But I know he has a personal grouse with the present IG.
Yes.
He has been in the forefront of pronouncing this current IG as an illegal IG. You know, he has been on that protest for some time. And I think the recent one that happened was when he went to support the retired police officers that had stage protest. So during that protest, allegedly his glasses, AI-enabled glasses, was removed from his face, and I think he accused the police of conspiracy, of being responsible for stealing the glasses. So I think that might not be unconnected with these defamation police is claiming that we just read from the leadership newspaper. But I would have even be looking more on the story that the biggest headline on that leadership newspaper is talking about Jonathan not being part of.
I'm going to come to that place, but don't you think it's is it a means by the police to maybe shut the mouth of activists in Nigeria? We've been seeing the activities of the police and other security agencies when it comes to activism in Nigeria. It's like they don't want people to see anything. They don't want people to talk. So don't you think maybe that protest where allegedly Sowore hijacked is like maybe the police punishing Sowore for coming out for the retired police?
Yeah, but I think I wouldn't want to conclude that is a way of shutting activism because I don't really know where to place Sowore's stand in the whole of this activism. This minute he's a politician, the next minute he's a journalist, the next minute he's an activist. Sowore to me is a coat of many colors. So I wouldn't want to take a stand on where Sowore stands, because that will be kind of, I don't know how to support him. Am I going to support him as a politician or as a journalist or as an activist? So I would like to advise Sowore, to streamline his interest. If you want to be an activist, remain as an activist. If you want to go into politics, you keep coming here and there to rescue Nigeria, to save Nigeria, to revolution now, and all of that. He has so many baggages. He had so many issues with security agencies and the Nigerian government as a whole. So I wouldn't want to really take a stand with Sowore because I don't know where to stand with him on this. If it was, like the issue of the Niger state governor shutting a media house, for example, that is an issue. That I can't comment. I can say, okay, are you trying to muzzle the media? The murder of a journalist in Kogi, that is directly concerned. That is my concern. The icon that just passed on, Doyin Abiola, may her soul rest in peace. That is a pen, according to one of the headlines, that stopped writing. Because those are the voices of, freedom, freedom of the press. I admired Sowore a lot when it comes to Sahara Reporters and all of that. But I am not a fan of Sowore when it comes to, I want to be a president. Because if you want to be a president, you can draw a line between being a politician and being a journalist. You leave one, go on sabbatical from one, then focus on the other. Then the next minute, anybody that wants to protest, you rally around them, an activist. So I cannot be supporting you in three directions at the same time.
Are you trying to say it's wrong? Are you trying to say it's wrong for joining in protests? We know this police
What
officers...
I'm saying, I am not saying it is wrong. He should put his mouth where his money is, so that you don't begin to think that there is personal interest. This minute you came out to tell us that the IG was illegal, that we have an illegal IG running the affairs of policing in Nigeria. Do you understand? You don't have proof. You don't have you don't have constitutional backing to your claims, and the president has cited a reason for extending the stay of the IG in the office. And if you are not comfortable with that, challenge it in the courts. Do you understand? So that is one hand. Then on the other hand, I am not also against you coming out to rally your support around the pensioners, the police pensioners, asking for their due. That is also very good. But on the other hand, you are also saying you are leading a revolution now. And on the other hand, you are also saying you want to be the next president of Nigeria. So that is what I'm saying, that he has too many sides to his struggles, that I would like to rally support around him if he was pushing for press freedom, media freedom, and being the fourth estate of the realm, allowing media to do their job. But you cannot be saying you are a journalist in one hand, you are doing the job of watchdog, and you are being just like you are a referee in a game, and you are also a player. It's not done. So that's where I have issues with Showore's stand. I don't know where and how to support him, because he has too many projects. So he should tell us which one is he out for 2027. Are you an activist? Are you fighting for the people reasonably, just cause? Are you focusing on journalism? Investigative reporting, which is what we are doing here. So I love Sahara reporters and I love what they do. But my interest following Sahara reporters, started slowing down when the founder, the owner of Sahara Reporter, we all know is Showore, delved into politics. Do you understand? There are some media houses in this country today that you watch with question mark. There are some papers in this country today that we read with question marks. The reason is because of the people behind those media houses. So some media houses have been tagged as a medium for campaigns for some political parties. I don't want to mention names. Some media houses are owned by politicians. So where do you draw the line? So if you want to be in politics, be in politics. If you want to be in politics, stay in politics and go on sabbatical from the media space. Then if you want, you cannot be a politician and be an activist. You can be an opposition. So when you're an opposition, there is difference between being an opposition voice and being an activist. Activist, you don't need to be in politics. You criticize policies that are not favorable to the people. So that's what it means to be active as an activist. So you cannot be an activist and a politician and a journalist at the same time. Let him stay in one place.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. And also looking at the leadership, I don't know which story you'd like to react to again. We have Jonathan checking out of reforming PDP. It's on page 4 of the leadership. I don't know if you have that story.
Yes, I saw that, but I don't know what they mean by chickened out. And I think the person that wrote that I've not read the details of that report, but I think his quietness, because he has been, in the background of the whole political situation in Nigeria. But what would you expect of another statesman? You just left government. You just got defeated by the ruling All Progressive Congress by President Muhammadu Buhari. So, and since then, he went quiet. Yeah. So the internal wrangling in the PDP, his name was not mentioned. he was not neither here nor there. I think that is the point the person was trying to make, because there's also another paper that is saying that there is a confirmation that he is interested in running for the office of the president to come and complete his term.
When I saw that headline, I had to check, did Jonathan really leave PDP, or he's still in PDP? Because the headline was misleading. It was kind of somehow...
No, it was very clear. They said he chickened out of the fight when they had internal wrangling, that he was not playing a role in trying to, reconcile, parties. That, the PDP is like an umbrella that is shattered the way it is now, because you have Wike on one side, you have Atiku going the other side. You understand? You have the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, claiming he's the person in charge of the party as we speak. So the PDP is not one house the way it is now. So I think Jonathan could be a unifying factor for them if they can rally around him. That is left for them, but I don't think that is a topic that we should be discussing, because he has not come out to open up. But I saw in one of the dailies that one of his allies, I think you get to that when we get to that,
Vanguard,
one of his allies on Guardian, right?
Vanguard.
Yes, Vanguard, yes. His ally is confirming that Jonathan has agreed, to run for presidency. So let's see how it goes. The road to 2027 is still 15 months or more away from today.
Yeah, it's still far.
Yeah, so there's still a long way to go. So I think it is a bit too early to begin to, because INEC is also issuing warnings to political parties that are already campaigning when the window is not declared open yet. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, but the one interesting story for me from that leadership is that of Doyin Abiola, a media icon, one of the strong voices, around this industry that just passed on. We pray
so rest in peace.
So rest in peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also on leadership, the last story I want us to look at there, it says Bauchi local government to ban women, girls from going to farm. It's on page 21 of that leadership newspaper. Don't you think it's a welcome development, seeing banditry attacks on women and the herdsmen attacks on women?
They should provide security. You cannot ban people from going to farm. If you ban them from going to farm, are you going to provide what they are going to eat? So that is nonsense. You can't a government cannot just come out and say, I will ban women from doing this.
But the men will still
you are supposed to protect them. The women should decide whether they want to farm or not. So you don't ban. That is not democratic. It's just like a governor waking up and saying, I ban radio station from operating. Are you NBC? You are not a regulatory body. So there is fundamental human right in Nigeria. And the primary responsibility of any responsible government, the primary responsibility in the Constitution of Nigeria says that government must provide security of life and property. That is the first responsibility of any government. So you don't provide an alternative to security challenges by banning people from going to the farm. Just like telling me that I should not go out because there are robbers, there is one chance. It is your duty to make sure that there is security. You don't tell me not to go to where I want to go to. You don't restrict my freedom. You don't restrict my choices because you have failed.
Well, don't you think that's maybe a means to?
It is not a measure. It is not a measure. There is food shortage in the land. Women do farm granules. They farm potatoes. There are crops that women do well in farming themselves. We are talking about equal rights here. What a man can do, can a woman not do better anymore? So a woman can go and plant their maize. They can go and plant
insecurity. You're talking about insecurity.
Insecurity means that you should provide security. If there is insecurity in the land, people cannot farm. Are you telling me men don't get killed in the farm? Are you telling me that the men can protect themselves more than the women? So the places that are volatile, where women cannot go to farm, the men are also afraid of going there to farm. But women are vulnerable, quite all right, yes. But the truth is that you should not use banning women to serve as an alternative to failure to provide security. That is the point I'm trying to make. Provide security, let the farms be safe. Because if you prevent women from going to farm today, the next thing you are going to prevent girls from going to school. Are they not attacking schools? So if you prevent women from going to farm, are you going to prevent girls from going to school? So that's the point.
That's a thoughtful one there that we'll need to think about.
Think about it.
Yes. And let's move over to Vanguard newspaper. The bold headline there says 2027 options before the North faces tough choice over Tinubu, Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, Amechi. It's on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. What would you say about that headline?
Vanguard newspaper.
Yes.
Yeah, they're talking about options
before the North.
Yes. Why is it option? I don't know what Vanguard is thinking. I don't know who did that editorial for them. For me, that is not a headline that should be bold in front of a paper like Vanguard. You know, options before the North. It should be options before Nigerians. So the country should be seen. This should stop. The media is part of the problem of this country. When we begin to segregate the North, the South, you know, and then we will not come back and be saying, let's not be calling North, let's not be calling South. But you keep calling it. So why are you calling it options before the North? Options before Nigeria. So it should be options before Nigeria. So it's not a North thing, it's not a South thing. So why is it options before the North? And putting pictures of those people that you think, why do you think those are the options that we have? Are we thinking that there can't be any option aside Atiku, aside Peter Obi, aside Tinubu, aside Amechi, aside Jonathan? So they're already giving us a permutation, trying to give you a direction where the people should be thinking towards. So the media must sit down and put on their thinking cap. They should not be thinking for Nigerians. They should just be telling us what is the truth and what is right. It should be the options before Nigeria, not options before the North. I think the headline
is trying to maybe let us in the candidate the North will want to go for, who they want to choose as.
Why is it about where the North want to go for? Why is it not about where Nigeria want to go for? So we should stop using the word North and South. We should think as Nigerians. The food prices today, is it thinking about when a Northerner is coming to buy or when a Southerner is coming to buy? Or the fuel prices, is it talking about when a Northerner is coming to buy, when a Southerner is coming to buy?
Majority of
so
votes,
for me, I don't really care. No,
the
majority of vote does not come from the North. The calculation the media is trying to do is this idea of it is still the South that should remain there, not a Northerner. For me, I don't care. If a Northerner stays there for 20 years and Nigeria is good for me, let him stay. If a Southerner stays there for 20 years and Nigeria is good for me, let him stay. You see this idea of who has the credibility to run only one term from the South. And Peter Obi is coming to say, I am saying I will do one term. To me, that has reduced my interest for Peter Obi. Yes, because he has just shown that he's desperate, because that is an attitude of desperation, coming to play to the gallery, coming to dance to the tune of if a Southerner must come, is just one term that he's coming to do. So if that is the case, it means that all the presidential candidates in the next election should be from the South, because that's the truth. Because in 2019, there was no Southern candidate in the major parties. It was between Atiku and Muhammadu Buhari. So it was two Northerners. So are we saying that if we want to go by that, even if it is not constitutional, power goes from the North to the South and stays for 8 years, it goes from the South to the North and stays for 8 years, then let the South put their ass together and tell any other person that is interested in becoming a president from the North to wait until 2032.
But we've seen presidential candidates maybe hoping to contest, and we see them going to the North, to seek for support from northern leaders.
Yes, that is a different kettle of fish. On a level playing ground, a presidential candidate from the North has gone to the South to canvass for vote. It is vice versa. But did you see a caption that says options for the South? Options before the South. It is wrong. Options before the South or options before the North is wrong. That option should not come to play. It should be options before the Nigerians. So whether it is Atiku or whether it is Tinubu, It is options before Nigerians. It is not. We should not make it. This is a northern president. This is a southern president. That is the problem of. That is the root of our problem. When we begin to see a president as a president of the north and a president as a president of the south. Now Tinubu is like a president of the south, but to me, in practical terms, is not, because even as we speak, just a few days ago, I saw a report that prices of food items are cheaper in the north than the south. It was in the news. Then we compared. A bag of rice was going for about 68,000 naira in the northern part of the country here. Whereas in the south, it's still close to 100,000 or more than. So now tell me, what has the south benefited from the Tinubu that you are talking about now? So let them stop this idea of the option before the north or the option before the south. It should be the option before Nigerians. Let Nigerians see anybody that comes out as the president. For me, if we have a better northern candidate for 2027, the south should better wake up and support the person. They should not be thinking, oh, because our own is remaining balanced one. What are you talking about? Is that constitutional? After all, when President Yaradua of blessed memory, when he passed on, was it not the northern candidate that was supposed to come and replace him? If it was the turn of the north, did Jonathan not continue from where he stopped? For example, Tinubu is not a superhuman being. If anything happens to Tinubu today, is Shettima not going to be the next president of Nigeria? No. Are you going to say, okay, because it is the option of the south, the southerner must come out? That is the problem we have in this country. So let them stop this idea. The media have a role to play, and they should play that role very well. They should stop this kind of headlines. This headline is not right.
Still on Vanguard, I think we've talked about this story already, but I want you to say more about it. 2027, Jonathan ready to run again. Close ally confirms. He's on page 8 and he runs through page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper.
Yes, we have talked about it. To me, it is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. If he wants to run, let him run. After all, Trump did one term, and he was sacked by Biden. So Biden finished his first term. Trump came back and sacked Biden. Do you understand?
But you see Jonathan coming back as the presidential, our president in 2027?
That is the decision for Nigerians to take. That is not my decision. And that is the point I'm making. So we are not supposed to be deciding who becomes the president. It is the Nigerians who have. I have a voter's card. Just one vote is what I'm entitled to. So you have your own. You are entitled to one vote. So that should be decided by the majority of Nigerians. Do we want Jonathan to come and continue from where Tinubu stopped? Or do we want Atiku to remove Tinubu? Or do you want Obi to remove Tinubu? That should be the decision of Nigerians. That shouldn't be the decision. That shouldn't come from the media. The media is a watchdog. We are to see and analyze where the pendulum could swing because of these facts on ground. So let's see. The question is, under which platform is PDP going to make Jonathan their flag bearer? Has PDP been able to put their house together and put it in order to be able to win an election? Does PDP look like a party that can win an election, that can win APC in 2027? Now, ADC is there by the corner. So there are other political parties. There is Labour Party. Do you understand? So we don't know. Let him come out. Let's see the party. Then let's see how much support he's going to get. So whether I think it or not, it is not my thinking that will make him or break him. It is the will and decision of the people that will either make who becomes the next president. In fact, the person that is going to be the next president is only known by God. Nobody, no man.
And is Jonathan's intention, what will you say? What do you think this will have to do with, to his political career?
I think he's being cajoled. He's being cajoled with the analysis before the calculation that the only person that constitutionally have no right to contest second slot from the south is Jonathan, because constitutionally he has done his first term. So he cannot challenge and say, oh, the power is so sweet, after one term I have rights to contest. But unlike Obi is promising one term, but Constitution guarantees him second term. So what makes you think if he gets there, that backdoor funding campaign that they are always doing in Nigeria, my people said, people are campaigning for me. They are saying Nigerian says I should continue. Meanwhile, you are the one funding the Nigerians that is going to do the billboard and keep everywhere and say ride on, like the way Tinubu is being promoted now everywhere. So the people that are singing Tinubu ride on, who are the people bankrolling them? Who is funding those campaigns, those billboards that we are seeing? Who is funding them? They will say support group. Where is the support group getting the money from?
Well, there's no wrong having supporters to
genuine supporters, nothing wrong about it. Induced supporters, everything is wrong about induced supporters, because inducement is the biggest problem we have with our political journey today. Inducement, financial inducement. So when people induce people to okay, like we had a very powerful guest in the studio yesterday, in the person of former Atiku aide or close ally, a person of Segun Showumi, talking about he had no problem with you saying I am no longer in this party, then you leave the party. But saying that I'm a member of this party, but I want to support this other person, it is wrong, because you have only one vote. When you are not saying you want to support, are you saying people from that party that are dancing to your tone should follow you and support that person? Why not speak for yourself and speak for yourself alone? Why try to induce others to work against the other people? So leave. If the kitchen is hot for you, you don't like the smoke, get out of the kitchen. But don't stay there and be saying, I am still here. This place is not good, but that place is where I'm supporting, but I remain here. So it's wrong.
Let's see how it goes. If PDP will be able to convince Jonathan here to join the party, because we don't know.
It is not about convincing him to join the party. He's a member of PDP.
He's a member to be their presidential candidate.
Yeah, but
they are going to woo him to.
Yes.
To be
so
let's wait.
Yeah, let's wait until whether it's November they are having their convention, or whatever they are having their convention, or whenever they are doing their whatever meeting they are doing, or when they want to declare and do their primaries. So let's wait for primaries. When they get to that bridge, they will cross it. So when they get to primary, we'll see how many PDP bigwigs are interested in. Okay, now people, they are trying to get a party chairman, substantive party chairman. There are people interested in being the PDP next chairman. One of them is Professor Jerry Ghana. Jerry Ghana is still campaigning to become the next chairman of PDP. He has not gotten it. He's already saying that if he becomes the party chairman, Obi will come back as their presidential candidate. Jerry Ghana made that statement this week. So what would you make of that? So now, they have not gotten to the point of whether it is Jonathan or any other person. So when he gets to that bridge, we will cross it.
All right, let's wait till then. Still on Vanguard, on page 12, it says, parents group wants papers cancelled. They're talking about they concluded WAEC that the result was just released some few days back. Since parents group wants papers cancelled, what would you say about that? This result has been released already. Should WAEC go back to cancel what has already been released? Don't you think it's a wrong move or a wrong call by parents?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a wrong move or a wrong call, because we don't trust examination bodies anymore. Since JAMB came, the JAMB registrar came to cry on national TV to tell us that the result they released, there was a glitch in their website that caused them to release false result of mass failure in the last JAMB. I don't know whether you remember that story. Yes. So now, I brought a guest the other day that we had an analysis of the papers, and we saw that the method that the WAEC was conducted this year was a method that has never been used before, which is CBT. So computer-based. So now, according to the guest analyst I had that day with me here, he said that he is of the opinion that WAEC is not like JAMB. JAMB is mainly like an objective where you have options to choose from. But WAEC, you go as far as writing essays in WAEC. And JAMB is like is a matriculation and is an exam for tertiary institution to pick their students and all of that. The exam is structured in a way that you don't write much in JAMB like compared to WAEC. And people that write WAEC, there is a way WAEC is structured that carries both schools in the rural area, in the urban areas along. So now the question is, with the kind of exams WAEC conducts, how many even tertiary institutions, not to talk of secondary institutions in Nigeria, have functional computer rooms, labs in their schools?
Not all centers use the CBT base.
That is the question, because if you want to do an exam, it should be fair and balanced. It should cut across board. Why would you assess people with CBT in some centers, then do an alternative assessment in some centers, then you now want to rate them with the same kind of results?
So are you saying the problem is from that?
The problem is from the method the exam was conducted. So if they want to adopt CBT, let them do it across board. And if it's not implementable across board, then stick with the system that you can use a fair parameters to assess students across board and across all levels. So if you ask me, the parents are right. Let WAEC sit down, put their ass together and take a second look at that method they use in conducting that exams. And if you look at that headline that says that massive failure that has not happened in 5 years happened this year. So it means that there is something wrong with the way the exam was conducted. Because we've not had this kind of record in 5 years. So if we have not had this in 5 years, what did you do differently this year that made it appear and came out the way it came out? So it raised questions.
So the process, are you implying that the process should be...
the process should be investigated.
And the exam should be cancelled?
The process should be investigated. It should be investigated, because if you cannot use the same method to assess everybody, and you're telling me that there were CBT centers and there were manual centers. So now, how do you compare the people that you are telling me you want to use beavers to conduct election? Then at the end of the day, you tell me that, okay, we'll use beavers in some states or in some environment. Then we'll go to another environment and use manual process. Then you will not tell me that, okay, your results should come out the same way. It will not come out the same way, because there are lapses that will take place in manual process and there are lapses that will take place in the other process that you are adopting. So now, the people that you used CBT for, how did you arrive at which area to use CBT for and use the alternative for the other areas? What parameters did you use in arriving at that conclusion? So there should be a system that is holistic, so that everybody will be fairly assessed and assessed. That's just the point.
Let's say maybe WAEC now agrees to maybe cancel the entire exam, the entire process, and start all over again. Don't you think it's maybe a waste of resources, waste of time and everything?
If we have to waste time to get it right, that is the fear we always have. We don't like to do things thoroughly because we feel it's a waste of time.
And resources.
So now, waste of time and resources. Now, what would you say about the people that were not fairly judged in that exams? Have they not wasted their time and resources? So one person must waste time and resources. So if you are telling me that I failed woefully because I could not use the computer-based test proficiently, have I been fairly treated? That's the question.
All right. Let's still look at what we still have on the Vanguard newspaper. This is coming from the EFCC, and it's a very, will I say, questionable one. It says, it's on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. It says, many abandoned estates in Abuja are owned by civil servants. That's,
yes,
think it's an allegation?
No, it is not an allegation, but I think it's a very sad one. It's not just coming from the Vanguard. I was thinking maybe you were going to go to some other papers. Like I saw it in some other papers.
It's on Daily
But
Trust.
yeah, we'll get to that. But I think it's phrased differently in some other papers. That EFCC has moved to real estate, and I think it's an area EFCC is doing very well. They should check that area, because some of these real estates, they are built with stolen money. People steal money, they find where to hide it. So at the end of the day,
these are civil servants here.
yes, civil servant, 700 and something duplexes was linked to Emefiele that was recovered by the EFCC and handed over to the Minister of Housing to add to the Renew Hope housing. There are estates here and there in this town that are built by civil servants undercover. So if that is going to help, let EFCC look into it very well, because they are building these houses and it's not even affordable. And some of them are empty. People are not living there because you can't even afford to buy them from them. You can't even afford to rent them. But they just want to use it to tie down money. There are many empty estates in this town.
Well, these are civil servants that complain that the government don't treat them well. They're not being paid well.
It is not the rank and files. When you see civil servants protesting, did you see the civil servants that are making money among those that are protesting? You see the rank and files protesting. But we are talking about from assistant director, from director cadres. These are the civil servants. This is where the corruption is endemic. It is not the people that they are seeing coming to march past on National Day, like May Day, Workers' Day, that you call civil servant. If you want to see who the real civil servants are, you will need to dig into this, because you are a journalist. And I think we are in the business of exposing crime to savage the nation. And we are into investigative reporting as well. So this is a good move by the EFCC. They should do more in this direction. They should find out who owns these estates that nobody lives in this town. They should find out who owns these big houses in this town that you can't, because if your means of income is not commensurate with your investment, then questions should be asked.
Don't you think it's going to maybe expose a lot of things that the EFCC want to be shut, the mouth of the EFCC want to be shut from?
Let's get to that point, and that is why we are here. Because the media, that is what I'm telling you, the media need to wake up and do its job. But thank God for the kind of medium we have. Ours is to expose crime, and we are investigative and crime watch media. So now is a challenge before us to hold EFCC and follow up with EFCC and see how many of those houses belongs to this civil servant. It is not just by laying claims and putting it in the front of the newspaper. Following up and making calls and asking questions. Of course, I have a relationship with the spokesperson of the EFCC in the person of Dele Oyewale, and he's very open, and he operates open door policy. Each time you call him to ask him questions relating to corruptions and all of this, he's always willing to grant interviews and all of that. So be rest assured that on this channel, we are going to follow up on these issues of civil servants own estates that they can't afford to build with the kind of incomes they are earning. And some of these estates are just built, locked, and kept somewhere. So it's a welcome development.
Okay. Let's move over to Daily Trust, the catchy issue or the catching story I want us to look about. There's on page 13. It says anti-party PDP to take action on Wike next week. I know it's a very nice headline for you when it comes to the issue of Wike.
Well, I'm not interested. The reason why I'm not interested is because this is just another statement. I will be interested when that action takes place. That's when I will be interested. They will, right? Let them. When they do that, I will be interested. But much more for that Daily Trust that is more interesting to me is that bold headlines that you are not talking about, which is 8 months in Taraba without a deputy governor. To me, that is bigger than whatever Wike and PDP are planning to do next week. Next week is still far. So let's get to next week. Like I said before, when we get to Such Bridge, we will cross it. So I am not interested until I see what they want to do for anti-party, whatever they think he's doing. But I think Wike has told them that he's bigger than them. He's bigger than the party, that anybody that raises his head and raises his eyebrow and want to come and tell him how he does not own PDP, he will tell them how he's the owner of the party. So let's get to that bridge.
All right. And on the Guardian newspaper, you were talking about that story yesterday. It's on page 6. It says that First Lady's humanitarian donations hit 12.9 billion in 2 years. You were talking about it yesterday.
Interesting. Yes, that is a very interesting story for me this morning. If you look at the front page of the Guardian, that is my number one paper for today, because
really analyzed
I castigated Vanguard for the kind of misleading headline they talked about, not what is before options before the North. I said it should be options before Nigeria. The editorial should go and rethink before they do such headline. But look at what Vanguard is doing this morning. Vanguard is telling us how the First Lady has expended 12.9 billion on donations
in 2 years.
In 2 years, and they drew a graph and showed the sectors and how much she donated to each sector. The question is, the president, our previous president, said that there was no office of the First Lady. And constitutionally, there is no office of the First Lady. Is there a budget for the office of the First Lady? And if there is no budget for the office of the First Lady, then that raises a moral question. How much was the First Lady earning as a senator? And how many years did he spend in the Senate? And how much has he donated in the last 2 years? And where are the businesses she's earning this money from? Or is there budget from the presidency that is there provision for the office of the First Lady in the Constitution? And is there provision for the office of the First Lady in the budget? So where is this money coming from? And this donation, how has it helped in alleviating the sufferings of Nigerians? So just going to one place and saying, okay, Officers' Wife Association, give them this money and go and share it. They share this money. Sometimes the people they are asked to share this money for, when you go close to them, they will tell you, we heard she gave us 500 million, but it is for 5,000 they give us. Or we heard the Benue crisis, she donated 1 billion. So, but go to Benue and do your investigation as a reporter and find out from that community, whether it's Yelwata community or which community that money was donated to. Go and find out how many resettlement has taken place in those communities. So we should stop this donation to make it look as if we are doing well.
Talking about the previous administration, that of Buhari, the First Lady then was doing all this donation, and it was not an issue then. Eyebrows were not raised. So why is that of
the eyebrows are not being raised here. What is being raised here is facts and figures. That in 2 years you have donated 12.9 billion. From which budget did you get that money? Is it no? Because she has made statements in the past that the money she's donating is her personal money. So is the First Lady richer than the President of Nigeria? Or is the First Lady, I don't know.
She was once a senator.
She was once a senator, because I heard Ojus Okalu in one of the videos telling us that 14 million naira a month is not enough for a senator. That he has to fuel his car, he has to travel to his constituency, that 14 million naira is not enough. So if 14 million naira was what was being given to Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, our able First Lady, when she was a senator, multiply 14 million by the numbers of months she has spent in the Senate and tell me how 12.5 billion in 2 years and she's not broke. Yes. Because it depends on how much you are making. Because if you spend this in 2 years and you are not broke, then there should be somewhere the money is coming from.
Funding might be coming from the presidency.
That's what I'm saying. Is there a provision for the office of the First Lady from the budget of Nigeria? Is there a provision for First Lady from the Constitution of Nigeria? So these are the questions. And I think that is what Guardian is doing this morning. They are not saying she should tell us, she should explain where she got the money from. They are just showing you how much the First Lady has thrown in donation. This is not skill acquisition centers. If she was building a pet project like Mariam Babangida, Better Life for Rural Women, there was a structure for it to go around the country. There was a structure for it to target a particular gender. But not that here there is flood here, you are going there, give 1 billion. There is killings here, you are going there, give 500 million. There is this one here, you are going there, give, and it's coming to the tune of 12.9 billion in 2 years. That means in 4 years, you are going to be hitting about 25 billion if she continues in this rate. But if she decides to step it up, because I understand that when you give the next time, because things are going up. So the value of 12.5 billion by next year could be 24 point something billion. So if she's continuing in this space, it means that by the end of 4 years, the First Lady would have expended close to 25 billion in donation.
That's a huge one there. And the last story I want you to react to, because we are short of time. The last story I wanted to react to is on page 6, still on Vanguard news, Guardian newspaper. It says ADC APC chieftain want Tinubu to shave re-election and focus on governance.
Yes, it is very important. And then it's just like a case of Kettle Kelly calling pot black. The ADC and APC too, they should also shave the presidential debate and the illegal campaign they have embarked on, because they are also distracting the president from doing his job. Because if you are telling the president to shave 2027 ambition and focus on governance, you too shut up your mouth and focus on your internal wrangling and build your party. Because if you keep permutating and keep coming to tell us how you want to unseat Tinubu by 2027, Tinubu is not going to be sleeping. He's also going to be calculating how he's going to make you uncomfortable enough to plan that coup or plan that strategy very well. Sorry for the word coup. Plan that strategy very well to be able to unseat him by 2027. But aside that, I think that there's another story in that Guardian that you might be very much interested in, if I'm permitted to talk about it. I think the one elder statesman Ezekwesili Wodo made the very strong and very sensitive statement that Nigeria may split without restructuring before 2024. You didn't see that in the page of the Guardian this morning. So I think that statement is very strong and is very sensitive, and we should not be encouraging such. Because you can encourage restructuring. You can make Ezekwesili Wodo was a former governor of Enugu State. He's an elder statesman. So from that kind of a level of a man, predicting Nigerian splitting before 2027 if there is no restructuring, I think there should be a better way for him to, pass his message than proposing Nigeria being splitted before 2027, because the US came to tell us that Nigeria will not exist beyond 2015. But it was a big lie. Nigeria has existed after 2015. This is 10 years after this, 2025. Nigeria is still existing. So with restructuring, welcome development. We have advocated for restructuring, that you must restructure this country. The issue of state police and the issue of herdsmen and farmer clashes, open grazing and all of that. These are issues that restructuring would have addressed. And we're thinking that the way Tinubu hit the ground running by removing subsidy when he was elected in 2023, that he would have also, be very, very, proactive with the issue of restructuring, because that is one of the issues all the presidential candidates campaigned with, including Atiku and Obi and the rest of them. They said restructuring is at the front burner of their agenda. It is the top of their agenda. So why is Tinubu not talking about restructuring? Has he jettisoned restructuring, or has he decided that restructuring might not help Nigeria? But for me, I think the message in that Ezekwesili Wodo's statement is Tinubu should look at restructuring. But saying that Nigeria may split, I think I disagree with him. Nigeria is not going to split by the grace of God.
Yeah, you can go on and on talking about Nigeria and the issues in Nigeria and everything, but we are out of time. We really need to round up here, and that's where we call it a wrap on today's edition of the newspaper review. Join us tomorrow for another interesting package of the program. Thank you for joining us, and this is Third Eye Africa TV. My name is Margaret Adewale.